All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is. Right here, right now, we got a hip hop legend in the building. We got Slo Smiff of the outfit right here, right now. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, baby. What up, though? What up, though?
I gotta say, man, it's such an honor to be able to converse with you and chop it up with you live on the Canadian FM dial, man. I hope everything is all well with yourself out there, man, and you're just enjoying the holiday season, man. I hope your Thanksgiving was phenomenal.
Man, it was cool. The biggest thing for me was I got a chance to sit down for a second, man. I be moving nonstop, man. 9 to 5, hustle daily. Hey, get it how you living.
Hey man, I gotta say that's the best time. That's the best thing about the holidays. You get the opportunity to just kind of relax a little bit with everything closed down and just enjoy enjoy the time with the friends and family.
Hey, that's what it's all about, man. A lot of times, the grind of the daily life, man. We forget about things that's the most important. Sometimes we forget that the most important thing is to, have some contact and, pay attention to the ones that you care about, man. Because tomorrow ain't promised, man. We gotta try to get the love in today.
And also, man, I want to take you back to the beginning of your amazing career this far. And I have to ask, man, what originally inspired you to get into the music industry initially, man? Because you've done so many phenomenal things throughout your career. But I got to know, man, what got you into hip hop originally?
Man, it's a trip that you ask that. I always get asked that too, man. Me, my roots actually came from uh, more so poetry and spoken word. But the area I came up around, was all thuggish, bump off the curb and gangster. So my partners that I hung out with, they wasn't trying to hear no poetry. So, I started beating on tables and beatboxing and shit like that. And then the same shit that was poems that wouldn't nobody listen to, I started saying them to a beat and my partner started listening to it.
And also as well, man, as we already know, you're a member of the phenomenal hip hop group, The Outfit. I was wondering, what is the story behind that group, and of course, how did you actually get connected with the other members?
Well, first of all, I want to say a shout out to, actually one of the original pioneers in the game. Motley Ski, Detroit Most Wanted, MC Lee, Duncan Hines, all them fellas. They was actually some of the first people like me from where I'm from that I actually could look on TV on on the video jukebox and see somebody, on camera walking back and forth, across my TV screen with with an old English Detroit Tigers jacket on. So they were always, somebody that was on my radar. People like, Detroit Most Wanted, Chaos and Maestro, Awesome Dre. Those the ones that we was listening to before we was getting any mainstream, attention. And so, shout out to Moxie and other member of the group, Eddie Stubbles, my brother. Me and him came up, around the same neighborhood, over on Pier Ave, Detroit, West Side, yay. And, that he had always been my partner, and through the years we had always, got the notebooks out and got the turntables out down in his basement or mine. And, we just had opportunity through the years of all being, from over on the west side, we linked up and, we started, hanging out in the basement and putting it on the turntable and scratching up daddy's records and everything. And, we end up having a camaraderie and a chemistry that went to putting together, some fire-ass material. And everybody that was hearing it was like, man, y'all crazy if y'all don't, link up and put this together. So, shout out to the outfit, Mossy Ski, Eddie Stubbles, Slo Smiff. We had a chance to put a classic play down and might be some of the coldest shit that a lot of people ain't never heard, but on the underground it's something that we know is loved all over, not just the country, but in many places around the world, they love us.
And also, as well, in the year 2003, the outfit actually released the phenomenal album titled Collector's Edition. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners a story behind this monumental album. And of course, is it actually still out there to be streamed or purchased today in 2022?
Well, it is out. It is out here, and that's another thing. That album is something I've been stressing to the young cats for years. Pay attention to your art, understand the value in yourself. You don't necessarily have to be famous to be a star, and you don't necessarily have to be a star to, live and eat off of your art. So that's one of the things that a lot of people get twisted. They be so caught up in trying to be famous, they forget about what the passion is that got you into it. And need to understand, everybody always running around talking about a bag, and half of the bags that we got we don't use because we don't even realize the value of it, So that Outfit album, we have always talked about how we felt it was, man, it might have been 10 years ahead of its time. A lot of the stuff we was doing on that album, the production, the travel, the time that we put into it, being an independent label. We put a lot of work, travel, time, and effort into trying to put out, a masterpiece. And we went all over the country. We came real close to, having, a major deal, a couple of meetings away from, major paperwork and signings and everything. And the odd thing about it, why I say we was so far ahead of our time with the project, because when it came time to, put some money in our laps, a lot of these major labels, they were kind of leery to deal with us. As much as they liked us as a group and as artists, as much as they liked the project, we actually had an album that at the time, 90% of the people that were featured on the album, including myself, were having either legal issues, were under indictment, or on their way to jail, or had the fear of somebody coming to get them. So it kind of scared everybody off. So, it's a trip that now the stuff that they putting out here, which is totally negative, it's on the radio every day. And, what we were doing, we weren't so much as being negative. We were giving people that were not from where we're from insight into what we saw every day, what we came up around, And I always thought that was the real essence of hip hop. You know what I mean? Before, it was for the guys that couldn't get into the schools of the arts and get the scholarships to music camps and shit like that. So you would take your block and you'll go across the city to somebody else's block, and what you would do, whether it was on the curb, on some cardboard with a radio sitting on the gutter, and everybody standing around, when you came to somebody else's neighborhood, everybody standing around, they got a chance to know a little bit about where you from and what you see and what goes on where you from. So it wasn't about what you had like it is now. Hip-hop has been took from us. It ain't hip-hop no more. It's pop music. It's what you got, what you can show, and this, that, and other. And that ain't what it was about when we was coming up. It was the same people, but a different mentality.
And also, my personal favorite song off that phenomenal Outfit project is actually Choices featuring the late, great Boss Hogg, formerly of Death Row Records, man. I gotta say, your guys' chemistry was absolutely phenomenal on this particular joint.
Man, I want to say, shout out to my man CPO Boss Hogg, happy remembrances, and that is a brother man, even though I was only around him a few times, from the first time I met him to the hugs and dap we gave each other going our separate ways, even up to the time I spoke with him, a couple of weeks before his passing, and we were talking about linking up. And that was a monumental song. And even if you listen to it now, at the time we made that particular song, everybody in the group, and including our feature from Boss Hogg, were going through, personal things at home or either legal issues, health issues. But it was a song that had a whole lot of depth to it, and every single verse, every single bar on that song, even the production on that song, shout out to the Grill out in Oaktown and, Lev Burlack and them, and, all the people that worked on the album, you know what I'm saying? All the people here in the city from AK, it's so much went into it and so much thought went into it and love. We gave it our all, man. And that is one of those songs that it puts a real stamp on, what the whole project meant to us, because all of us were on the verge or had an opportunity to go different ways that, could have changed our lives, in a lot of instances, not for the better, and the passion we had for getting that project out was the distraction that actually kept everybody involved from doing something that might have took us in the wrong direction. So that song Choices is a very special song, I'm sure, to all of us, but I know especially to me.
And before we move off the topic of that particular project, the outfit also had the opportunity to collaborate with the late, great Tupac Shakur on the song Don't Tempt Me. I was wondering if you could actually tell our listeners the story behind this collaboration, and of course, what was it like just being able to work alongside Tupac and Mauer Shakur?
Well, this one of those things, we from the D, and, no matter where we go, a lot of times, even while we were doing the music at times, we were still, back and forth doing other ripping and running and probably things that we shouldn't have been doing. And, because you got that kind of track record and footwork, we had family out on the West Coast, so we were always familiar with being in and out of, Los Angeles and in and out of Oaktown, hanging out with Gary Payton and, E40 and Be Legit and even J.R. Ryder when he was, with the Lakers for a second. So we would always be back and forth from the West Coast, doing different things. And it was kind of a situation where we like, yeah, we doing this music, but really this music shit kind of, getting in our way. We from Detroit, we gangsters, we'll do it, but, we ain't really got time to take time for this. But, along with doing that, different connections, just from being, sometimes in the right place at the right time, we end up in places like the Grill and stuff like that. And, back during the time when those original bars that, Pac penned down, he was known. He was one of those guys that everybody, felt was going to be that deal. But to us, man, we was some gangsters from Detroit. We was like, yeah, he all right, but we didn't really think it was that hot. It was, what Tupac did was actually something that was penned down on the West Coast some years before he passed away. And then, you fast forward, 10 years later, everybody looking at us like, man, y'all actually got bars that y'all own with Tupac Shakur on it, and y'all not doing nothing with it. Well, at the time, we had those bars, but we didn't think they was all that. So they actually just sat. We didn't think about it. We was ripping and running, doing other things. But then, after so much urging about it, and we was told we'd be stupid if we didn't, use it for something. We went, in the studio, remixed it, we did verses and put it back down with some different music and, redid our verses and put it out, and, it ended up being an underground classic.
I gotta say, it definitely is an underground classic, man. Absolutely phenomenal, man. Just being able to to actually have that at your guys' disposal, being able to use it, man. And I gotta say, definitely thank you for actually just giving us fans that project and actually, making that decision and actually releasing it so we can all hear that phenomenal collaboration.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, man. We have never got nothing but love, man. And I'm talking about it's still places out on the West Coast, out in Oakland where they still play some of our stuff in the, in the clubs and after hours and stuff like that. By me being a little older now and a little more settled, I may not be all the way settled, but I'm a little more calmer than I used to be, and I have to catch myself because, I'll be places, I might be places with a young lady or something like that, and, cats go to staring. A lot of times I forget I'm kind of a hard person not to miss. I'm tall, I got this big old beard, and I got a voice that carries, and, sometimes people catch a glance on me, and, I have to stop myself from, reaching sometimes, and pump my brakes, and then they'll ask me, they'll be like, man, don't you do music, or aren't you a poet, or haven't I seen you here? And then my whole energy levels out, and to me it is an honor and really a straight up trip to me when a young cat that I know has to be 20 years younger than me, or in some cases might not even been born when that Outfit album came out, and they'll walk up to me giving me dap and actually reciting a verse that I might have did 20, 25 years ago. So that is something, it always touches me, and it lets me know, especially at the times when you think ain't nobody listening, it's stuff like that get you grounded and let you know people are paying attention. I want to say everybody that has ever gave me dap or love, threw some peas up in the air for us, I want you to know that I'm one of them guys. I really appreciate it, and I do it for y'all.
And also as well, yourself and Eddie Stubbles of The Outfit actually had the opportunity to work with DJ Butter on the project titled Get Money or Sleep in the Park. I was wondering if you can actually tell us a bit more about that, and of course, how did you guys originally get connected with fellow Detroit hip-hop legend DJ Butter?
Oh, man, you got to understand, it's like, you always hear the saying, like about places like New York, if you can live here, you can live anywhere. But the difference with Detroit, we don't have as much diversity. We don't even have as much of a, say a gang culture or something like that. We basically got hoods. You know what I mean? You got the east side, you got the west side, and, you can have one or two people from one or two places that can bring a lot of people together, because Detroit is big to everybody that's not from Detroit. But when you from Detroit and been here your whole life, I don't care if you've been out here doing it the right way or the wrong way, you're going to run into certain people. And just so happen, a brother like Butter, that, man, I tell you, anytime, any day, man, I love him. He is my brother. And he is one of those guys where it's a small world situation, kind of like one of them 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon things, to where we've always been around each other. We've always been family. We've always been hood. And then it just gets to be one of them things like, damn, we need to do this. And then everybody's saying, yeah, I don't know why we ain't did it already. So it's one of those things, it's inevitable, because we have always been brothers. We've always been tight. We always been like family. So that's just one of them things that just had to be done. And, you know, he give us so much love, man. And sometimes, man, if ain't nobody a fan, we know that the day ones is fans, man. We support each other. You know, one thing we hear about Detroit artists, that people, well, not Detroit artists, but people from Detroit will support every motherfucking thing that come through Detroit but they own. But one thing I can say about the Detroit artists will ride and support each other over everything, you know. And that's another thing when you say small world, even when you're talking about, you know, cats like Trick and where all us came up from on the small world thing, just happening, you know, to know each other from those days of, you know, riding the Harleys and stuff like that, man. You know, that's why I love your show, man, because I'm an outlaw, man. I'm one of them retired Harley riders and, you know, an outlaw, man. So, you know, for us, it's always been, you know, the street corner and the gutter. And, you know, some of us been blessed enough to go from street corner to white collar. But at the same time, ain't nothing more important than knowing where you come from and the people that came up with you. And DJ Butter, he is one of them cats that is loved by everybody. I don't think you ever run into nobody that got something negative to say about him. Shout out, Butter. Love you, bro.
And I gotta say, definitely shout out to DJ Butter. He actually airs a hour-long mix show every single Tuesday night here on Outlaw Radio FM, man. So you already know, man. We got that Detroit music spinning every single week here in Canada.
Oh, man, well, I gave you something to put on the airwaves, man. I hope a few of them, and if it's something else you want, or if you bring it to my attention, man, I go in the archives for you. I got a bunch of shit, man, so I'll pull out some stuff old and new for you.
And also, man, aside from actually being a very well-established hip-hop artist, man, you are also a business owner as well, where you are the CEO and owner of Krusty Knuckles Entertainment. I was wondering if you can actually tell our listeners the story behind your business, and of course, what services do you actually offer today to the general public, or just, in fact, up-and-coming independent hip-hop artists?
Well, just for the simple fact that, you know, by me being, you know, having a few gray hairs in my face and in my hair now, even though I'm still that same guy that, you know, might have been walking around with the diamonds on and you know, throwing a few chairs here and there in the club, now you get a little older, and the same people that wouldn't talk to me or give me any kind of ear as an artist, now, just because I'm blessed enough to still be here when the smoke clear, you know, I can throw on a suit and, you know, a hat and, you know, and put on some business attire, and the same people that wouldn't even let me in their building 10 years ago, you know, now, you know, I'm able to have meetings with people, whether it's in a boardroom, whether it's in a Zoom meeting, and in some instances, even on the golf course, as unlikely as that might seem for a dude like me. So knowing how hard it was for us just to have the access to different, you know, venues and opportunities, now I'm in a position where Krusty Knuckles, what our main thing is more of talent, artist development, and giving guys access to where, for example, when we did that Outfit album, you know, for a video, we might have had to go to 2 or 3 different places and then send stuff out of town to get it edited. And, you know, to get to the studio we might have had to get on a plane 2 or 3 times, you know, in a 2 or 3 week period to, you know, get the production that we wanted. But now, you know, it's a new age era technology, and even though it's available, still a lot of us either don't have the access or don't even know that we have the access. So I like to be one of those big bros, if you want to call it, that can can show a younger cat, look, it's not just about getting on the microphone and standing in front of a crowd. That's the easy part. You know, the part that you know what is your image? You know, are you talking the same things that you're living? Keep in mind that this is when you get out of the car in your neighborhood and all you doing is sitting up listening to the people that's sitting in the car smoking with you. Of course, they're your biggest fans and they gonna give you all the thumbs up, you know, to push you. But what about when you're not in your neighborhood? What about when it's about business? You know, can you handle the business? Do you have an image? Do you understand marketing? Do you have a business plan? What are your goals? You know, do you want to be famous or do you want to make some money? Sometimes you can't do both. You know, so nowadays, what Krusty Knuckles is, by me being somebody that has been in the game for a while and is known around where I'm from, and like I say again, blessed to still be here after the smoke clears, you know, I can offer a cat that might just be somebody that know how to rap, but can tell, hey man, I got 3 or 4 different DJs around the city that are like my brothers. I got producers all over the city that, yeah, you might not know them. They might not deal with you because of where you're from. But guess what? You can come with me, and he going to listen to you, and we're going to take care of business, and he going to do it because I'm somebody that he trusts. You know, so that's my thing. Krusty Knuckles is more of artist development. We offer video production, audio production, editing, marketing, and it's not just music. We also do this for, you know, giving young guys work opportunities, giving guys, you know, an opportunity to have retainers available if they are out here and maybe doing something that they ain't got no business doing or then got caught up before they had opportunity to change and mature. I try to be one of those voices that, yeah, I'm going to tell you the real, but I'm not going to talk ignorant to you and leave out the consequences. I'm not going to knock you for nothing that you're doing because I've been there. But I'm also one of them guys, whether if we're talking about music, if we're talking about business, or even if we're talking about the streets and, you know, hustling, I don't care if you're talking about, oh, well, this is my excuse because my mama was on drugs or my daddy got locked up or got killed or whatever. Okay, you can't use that as an excuse with me because I'm actually one of them cats that can tell you, look, I know how I feel. I done been there, and I ain't just blowing smoke at you. Anybody that know me knows that I'm authentic, and I done, you know, I done been through it. So when you have a certain level of credibility to a young man that looks up to you, you can either abuse it and feed them garbage and take advantage of their naivete, being naive, or you can spit some game to them and make them think on a level that maybe they haven't thought before. So I'm the one that can kind of get a young cat to pump their brakes and be like, look, man, it ain't about being no gangster right now, man. It's about business, because if you want to talk about being gangster, man, I'm a gangster, but that ain't got nothing to do with it. And, you know, how Scarface say, and Q, gangsters don't live that long. So if you lucky enough and blessed enough to still be here, whatever you're doing, especially if you ain't doing it the right way, it's time to start thinking. One of my favorite quotes from my brother Eddie Stubbles is, it's time to start finding ways to do the same things different, find ways to do new things the same, you know?
But I have to ask, man, excuse me, what is next for yourself, Slo Smiff, man? Is there anything we happen to miss during tonight's broadcast? Anything else you do still want to talk about or promote? What we still got you here live on the Canadian FM dial this evening?
Well, like we started the conversation. You know, one of my passions is I enjoy words. I enjoy literacy. Anybody that knows me, you know, ain't no ass and titties on my, you know, social media sites. You know, you might hear me spaz out here and there. You know, sometimes it might be something thoughtful. One thing that I do want people to understand is, you know, when it comes to this art thing, man, there is no perfect formula. You know, sometimes people ask me, they say, well, damn, Slo, one minute we'll hear you doing some poetry and saying something real, you know, powerful and enlightening and philosophical, and then, you know, the next minute you spazzing out and you talking about, you know, kicking a dough in or something like that. And to me, you got to understand, not only as an artist, but as a human, as a person, you know, we're human. Tupac, one of the, I think one of the greatest songs ever made in the hip hop community is Dear Mama. But you got to think, the same guy that made Dear Mama is the same guy that woke up screaming, fuck the world. You know, so it's not saying that one is right and the other is wrong. As an artist, we need to be comfortable not in trying to follow a trend or trying to do what you see somebody else doing. Man, the best way to blow up is to be you, is to be unique. And that's my thing. I have never shied away from doing, you know, spoken word and poetry. Some of my friends, even now, cats like Common Sense, that used to come down here to Detroit from Chicago, way back when we was going to Cafe Mahogany, and Proof and 5L, and all us was going down there doing poetry, reading it out our notebooks and stuff. And you got a guy like Common that would come in from Chicago to chill with some guys from Detroit because he was authentic. He was authentic about his art. He never was a Hollywood guy, and so he didn't have to try to be like NWA and Ice Cube. He was comfortable being himself. And that, like I say, you can be positive 1 minute, but then shit, the next minute the world can bring some negative shit out you. I say it's a lot more productive to pin it and say what's on your mind than to get caught up, you know, acting on something that can change your life forever. So I'm very involved as a youth advocate. I'm in the process, actually, during the first quarter of the new year, I'm going, pursuing funding for a registered nonprofit. It's called It Rocks, IP, and then capital ROCS, and that's Initiatives to Restore Our Community Structure. And it is a non-religious, non-political youth advocacy program and empowerment to give, our younger people, you know, men and women, regardless of their color. But it just so happens, in where I'm from, most of the people where I'm from do tend to look like me. So it's not just directed at us; it's for everybody. But I'm a strong advocate for our youth, and, you know, showing them that there are, you know, other ways. You know, I tell them, you don't want to be old dog. If you're gonna do it wrong, go out like Maya Lansky, man. You got to be here to get there. So, you know, things like that, poetry, the nonprofit organization. You know, I'm also a panelist for the Detroit Writing Room. I do presentations and, you know, speaking engagements for the Detroit Writing Room, as well as the Hearst Foundation. I was involved in, you know, a global live stream for some poetry, you know, last year. And like I say, I try to find different avenues, and, you know, you don't have to be one-dimensional. like I say, my original passion is I love words. I love words so much that I can take a word that don't even rhyme and I can make it sound the way I want to with a tone or a vibration in my voice. So those are things, along with music. It is my passion to be somebody that has a positive voice for those that are coming up under me. I ain't never been no angel, but yeah, I'm still here, and I got some good intentions to try to help those and try to make sure that some more of us actually do get the chance to be here and get a chance and change and mature.
And also, Slo, this is the time to interview quickly, man, that I give a chance for the individual that does slide into the radio station airwaves, just a chance to give, like, shout-outs to whomever they want to give shout-outs to, but most of all, your social media handles. That way our listeners can follow you and stay updated on everything you currently got going on.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, it's SLO SMIFF. So anything that you want to find me on, whether it's something old, whether it's something new, whether it's social media, for Facebook, it's SLO space SMIFF. On IG, on Instagram, it's just one word, SLO SMIFF. I go by a lot of different nicknames. Some circles, Slo Smiff is the rapper. Sammy Davis Sr., that's the CEO. Mr. Whispers is the thug. Caesar Ape is the leader. But you can always find me. Anything, whether you want a picture, whether you want to hear a verse, or whether you want to see some concert footage, you can type in Slo Smiff. SLO SMIFF.
And I got to say, first and foremost, Slo, thank you so much, man, for just giving us a bit of your time here this evening and sliding into the 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM airways, man. It was such an honor and most definitely a privilege just being able to chop it up with you here this evening.
Man, I am definitely honored. Soon as you reached out to me, you saw the reply I gave back to you, man. I'm at your disposal. I really hope not only that some people that I know have got a chance to hear this and have an appreciation for it and know that I represent my city, know that I represent my hood. I also hoping that some people that don't know me want to look into something, and soon we will be putting out some of that music that a lot of people never got the chance to hear. Also going to be a lot of new stuff, also artists that I'm involved with. I got a niece named Anna. We got Isto Boys, we got Sore Thumb, we got PA Tron. We got a lot going on. We got artists, we got singers, we got producers, we got videographers, we got editors. We even got security and drivers, for those guys that we want to try to keep out of trouble. You know what I mean? If you're not in a situation where you can ride and be safe, hey, it's some people that you can ride and be safe with to where you ain't got to worry about that. We can go out and promote, and you can take care of your business, and you can be the artist, and we can put some people around you to where you ain't got to deal with that extra shit.
I gotta say, man, I definitely agree with your saying, man. And again, thank you so much for just that quick reply and actually, accepting this inquiry, man. It was such an honor. But until next time, man, I gotta say, definitely have yourself a phenomenal night, man, out there in the 313 of Detroit.
Man, thank you so much. I'm honored. I am touched, and I'm talking about, I mean it from the heart, man. I hope everybody that got a chance to listen, I hope it's something positive you got from it. I hope it's something about my energy that lets you know that I'm sincere with it. Hey, hip-hop forever. We need to take it back to where it needs to be. Shout out to the hood. Yeah. I want to say shout out to a few of my fallen brothers. Jay Woods, Jeff Dorsey, the whole hood. Shout out to 1-800. My man Vessel. You know what I'm saying? My man Chuck dear. You know, all love, everybody. I want everybody to know I might be seldom seen, but I'm always close by. But one thing everybody know, I'm always repping for us, always. And I appreciate you, love you. Shout out Outlaw Radio, shout out Canada. Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, you are most certainly welcome there, Slo. Thank you so much again, man, and definitely have yourself a phenomenal night, man. I'm pretty sure we definitely shall talk again soon.
Most definitely. I look forward to it. Thank you, sir.